Welcome to Man vs. Land. I'm Sara Holland, and this is a segment intended to educate the public on various home and landowner topics, as discussed with guests who serve as experts in those fields. A disclaimer for our show: this show does not constitute legal advice and is for educational purposes only. We are always available to field questions, so please message us on Facebook at Man vs. Land NH.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. How about yourself?
I am good, thank you. Thanks for doing this. I'm so excited.
I'm thrilled as well. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, Allan, if you could just share who you are and what you do, that will kind of kick us off. That would be great.
Sounds great. My name is Allan Wolf. I own a content creation business called Wolf Real Visuals. We create photography and video products for realtors, builders, and businesses alike.
All right. So we are here to just share information about your industry, what you do, and honestly, what you want consumers to know, or even agents like me to know about your services and how to prepare. Like, I'm sure there's one thing that you leave many of your shoots with, and you're just like, oh my God, I wish this person would have just listened or would have prepared better. How do I, as a business owner, how do you put things in place to ensure that when you show up at a shoot that it's ready to go?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. So for my realtor clients, my rental clients, those that do short-term rentals, and my builders, I supply them with a prep guide. So it's just a bulletin list of what they need to do to prepare for their shoot. It can be simple things like making the bed, tidying things up, putting away pictures, and just simplifying the overall home. For builders, a little different. It's really cleaning up, making sure tools are away, making sure that everything is staged and furnished how you want it to appear in their portfolio.
So when you are doing shoots for realtors, then their job is to provide this information to their clients to make sure that they're ready to go when you show up on site.
Exactly. And that way it can be a very efficient process for myself, the realtor, and everyone involved. And that way your client, the one that's selling the home through you, gets top dollar for their listing.
What is the number one thing that folks tend to miss on your list that that you walk in and you're like, darn, we need to put that in bold?
It one of two things. It's always like pet stuff, like as a dog owner, or an animal owner in general, I just don't think about my pet stuff. But that's always like, hey, can you just grab that, throw it in a closet real quick? Another one is clearing off like bathroom counters, just like put away the toothbrushes, make sure there's a fresh roll of toilet paper. That way your viewer subconsciously isn't like, oh, did they just run out of toilet paper?
Oh, that's a really good point. Okay, so you are trying to ensure that the viewer, which is the consumer, the buyer, or the renter, whoever the target market is looking at the property, not how you're living in it, right?
Exactly. Like you want to have the property set up in such a way that the prospective buyer feels like, hey, I can picture myself living here. And they can do that through photography, through video. We've had clients recently add lifestyle elements where the realtor will kind of create a scene like they just got home, they're preparing a cocktail, they're getting ready to go out on the deck to relax, enjoy the lake, set an ambiance for their prospective buyers to help coach and encourage them to visualize themselves in a space.
I love that. Yeah, because you don't generally get the feel of the place without being there. And so having those videos is super helpful. Yeah. And there's a project that I do want to talk with you about before before we leave today. But because I've been watching some of those that you've been doing, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's really, really really a great idea. Like folks playing pool or preparing a drink or starting
Mhm.
dinner or like just relaxing at the end of the day. Those have been really great to see. And it does give you a feel for the space because sometimes you're just looking at this picture and I know I get the comments when folks come into my properties that, oh, the space is smaller or the space is bigger or it's much better than the photos, which is what I would prefer to hear.
I also get those comments, so you're not alone on that.
Yeah. It's hard to capture an entire property and convey it just on a social media platform. So it can be a little difficult. But
Exactly. You gotta kind of approach it on multiple levels, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, absolutely. So talk about what types of mediums you provide, because I know that you do both video and photography, but also you do Matterport stuff as well.
We do. So we'll do Matterport or their competitor iGuide. So we have two 3D platforms, and it all comes down to a client's preferences. I have agents that loathe Matterport but love iGuide. I have agents that aren't super tech savvy, so they like the simplicity of iGuide. I have agents that are very luxury focused. So they're like, hey, Matterport has that cool intro. You can see a 3D model of a home and you can kind of play around. It's a little more playful and it makes you navigate the model as if you're there in person.
Right, which is a huge tool for folks to use, especially in this market where you may not be able to see the property before you have to place an offer on it. So to be able to just kind of walk through the house as if you're there, it's the next best thing to actually being in the property. So
Exactly. And I imagine too that you've run into instances where you have buyers that are international or they're coming from way out of state and they're like, hey, Sarah, I don't have time to go to this listing, but I'm interested. Do you have a tour? And that's where a 3D tour can be very handy in helping someone be like, I was able to take measurements in the program. Like, this is the space where I want to live.
love that. I remember doing before Matterport, doing the phone tours, and I'm just like, how no one can see what the heck is going on in this house. So I'm like narrating and going back and forth between my face and the property. And we still do that as we need to, but it's much better to have that 3D tour. I want to talk with you a little bit about your particular process and if there's a message that you could share, like just be a little vulnerable and share a message to the world like my life would be so much easier if you would all do X.
Man, I mean, I would say that for the most part, our appointments are pretty easy, but I do love hearing feedback from clients. It can be any kind of feedback about a session. I love hearing about it. So I personally I would love to hear more of it. I do ask clients often, but how are you supposed to grow as an individual, as a business, if you don't hear feedback?
Ooh, I love that. That's awesome. I've watched you over the years and you have grown so much and like in just what you offer and as well as your business has grown. How does that feel for you?
It's almost surreal, to be honest, because I didn't think that it would grow so quickly and scale so much into offering not just realtors with content, but also branding services for businesses. And it's all kind of crosses each other because realtors need branding services, businesses need branding services. And we're kind of entering an age right now where your average business owner isn't just a business owner, you're a marketing machine.
Yes. Yes. And it's getting, I don't know, it's getting both harder and easier to market yourself. There are just so many different platforms and it can be, yeah, you can have a little ADD with your with your
A little
marketing sometimes, just a little
bit.
bit. Oh my gosh. Talk about some of the types of businesses that you've worked with for their branding. I remember seeing, is it a van build company?
Yes.
That was cool.
That was a lot of fun. One of our clients, Arnell Van Builds, they build custom vans. They started off originally just servicing RVs. And then they discovered before the pandemic that people wanted small, comfortable campers, but there was nothing really available at the time. And that kind of supply just dwindled more as we progressed through the pandemic. They now, at any given time, they're building 2 or 3 vans, and everyone is different. There's no cookie cutter solution. They had a client that strictly wanted a custom van for her show dogs. She goes to shows. She's staying at a hotel, but she wanted something comfortable for her show animals. Obviously, your Hilton's not going to let like 12 animals just stroll on in. So she wanted a comfortable solution to not just transport them, but to also keep them safe, secure, and comfortable while she was on tour.
I bet you have a million stories of the people that you've met and the homes and the products that you've shot over time.
I really do.
Yeah, that's so great. That's so great.
A realtor, I bet you're a huge fan of builders, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this one will be short. So I did a video interview with a timber frame builder last year, and his name is Peter Arnold, and he builds log homes. He had, for the longest time, his own show up in Canada on History Canada. And he is also known for the world's largest timber frame home in the Northern Hemisphere.
Oh.
So interviewing him, seeing his process behind the scenes, wild. Quite an experience, to say the least.
Oh, I love that. That's probably the best part about my job. In addition to like seeing really cool houses and deciding what I want in my own house, right? Because that's what we do. We're always looking at cool features. We're like, that would be very helpful. Is meeting the people and hearing their story. Because you see these people like in the grocery store or at a restaurant, and you have no idea what their backstory is. And everyone just has such an incredible story. Like whether it's, they feel that it's insignificant to, doing these amazing things and having such accolades as the largest timber frame home in the Northern Hemisphere. So yeah, that's definitely a big part of why I continue to do what I do, is to just meet these people, and why I'm doing this, to be able to have these conversations with folks as well.
I love that. That was one of the things that got me excited when I saw your email come through. I was like, oh man, I've always wanted to connect with Sara.
Yeah.
What a great opportunity.
Cool. All right. Well, let's talk. Let's just chat. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to share with people?
What are some design trends that you're seeing that you really like?
Oh gosh. Design trends. I'm more like on the practical side of things. So I really love convenience in design. So thinking about like kitchens and whatnot, like just the pot filler or a dog water filler or something like that. I love spaces for dogs or for animals. I have chickens as well, although they're not allowed in the house, though they try. But we've just remodeled their chicken coop, so we made some design choices in there. But I love floating staircases. I still love single level living because I feel like it's so simple.
And it's future proof.
It is future proof. And even now, like I can still climb stairs, but I have an older dog that can't climb stairs, and I'm like, oh gosh, we got to move to the first floor now because he likes to stay where we're staying. So having those accesses to for your primary living space, so a private space, as a human, you need to like kind of retreat sometimes, to have something that's comfortable enough and has all the things, and you can kind of get away from your family, your dogs, your responsibilities, and just kind of retreat for a little bit. Ease of maintenance is a huge thing for me that I really like, and for a lot of my clients. I'm not a big, I don't sell a ton of stuff on the lake, so I'm more kind of like the commoner realtor. And we tend to do real estate for everyone type of stuff. And so ease of maintenance, single level living, all that future proof stuff, and then just the convenience factors, because you're constantly, if you're living outside of your home, like you have kids and you have work and you have adventures that you want to go on, you want things to be simple and organized when you come home, so it's not such a chore to be home. Those are the things that I love seeing and love talking to my clients about. So we're working We have a couple of us through our company that are working to start developing new construction and renovating other properties that are, deferred maintenance, cannot get financed, those types of things, because we have a whole list of clients that are looking for stuff that is manageable. Going back to like the starter home idea, something that is very manageable and cute and, affordable, but they don't have to give up like the cool design and the feeling of like being very proud in a space that you can make it your own. So we're kind of working on that, and hopefully soon we have a new project that's starting in. We were hoping that it was going to be done by now, but we haven't started yet. So we're hoping to break ground here in the next month. Otherwise, we're waiting until spring. Just smaller, manageable, cool homes.
That's very exciting though.
It is exciting. Yeah, because we have talked with our clients about what it is that they're looking for, and they're all, the demographic that we tend to see are younger folks, no children, maybe single folks that spend a lot of time outdoors. So they don't need a ton of space, nor do they want a ton of space. And they sometimes feel that having a ton of space is irresponsible. We're kind of keeping that in mind when we're coming up with our ideas. And I really love decorating places. So I also have an Airbnb, and we're working on this build project, and the interior decorating part of things, I'm super pumped. And I've never been that way. Like, I'm super analytical. So I'm just like tapping into my creative brain now. And it's so much fun. I really enjoy it.
I love it. You should do a series talking about it.
Yes.
This thing, another segue off of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it definitely hasn't been easy. And it has been something that like, I like to go. What's the next step? Let's just keep moving. And I have had to learn so much patience in this process, in this build process, that it's been very humbling. And I've had to learn a lot of patience in my own business, but just this process has been, whew, yeah.
I've worked with a lot of builders. I can relate on that front.
Yeah. And I don't want to, like, there's a balance there. I don't want to get complacent with just the lack of progress, because I think that there's a middle ground, right? There are things that we can do. There are steps that we can take to move things along a little bit faster, but also know that they're not going to be as fast as I want.
Exactly. I mean, a big thing I'm still seeing is supply chain issues. A lot of my builder clients, they'll be in the middle of a project and they're like, well, our fixtures aren't coming in for another 6 months, or something small like that. But that can be a huge detriment to how they want to get things ready for their client, get it ready for their portfolio, because that can just push things into next year real easily.
Oh gosh, absolutely. Yeah. And the builders that we've been working with, they're just like, okay, we haven't put shovels in the ground yet, but we need to order windows. Like, we need to do these things. And otherwise we are going to be another year out waiting for them. But what's interesting, and I don't know where this kind of breakdown is in the supply chain conversation. So I went to a policy event in DC, and we had the Home Builders Association there. And they're like, we have plenty of supply. And I'm like, oh, okay. They're just like, we're pre-COVID now. We don't have any supply chain issues. And I'm like, really? Like, you haven't told us in New Hampshire yet. So there's definitely, I feel, in this conversation about supply chain, that there's an upstream, I don't want to say corporate, and I don't want to get super political, but that there have been businesses that are like, oh, wow, this makes more sense for us to have a finite supply, right? It's supply and demand. Exactly. And yeah. And they're just like, oh, this makes sense. And we just did this a couple of weeks ago. My son was out trying to buy a new vehicle, and there's nothing on the lot that is brand new. And what he wants is like being built. And I'm like, oh, so they're like, it's like made to order. Okay, cool. This is the new thing that we're doing now. And it's great, but it's just it's the new norm. So, yeah, we just have to get used to it. Supply and demand, right? It's always been there.
I imagine too, with like the construction side of things, there's pockets, because in the Northeast, like, we can in bursts get something really easily, and then it trickles down for a moment, and then it ramps back up. So
Yeah, absolutely. And depending where we're getting the stuff from. And I mean, geez, I think I just read the other day that there's a holdup in the Panama Canal because of a drought. So things aren't getting through. So we have all of these weather things that are impacting stuff. And now we have the hurricane coming. Supply chain is the easiest phrase for us to say for people to go, oh, okay, it's out of our control. We can't do anything about it.
Exactly.
Oh, it makes it easier for us. Oh, so yeah, share some stories. I mean, I want you to share stuff that you know.
Oh, sure. I'm part of the Builders Association. We're in the middle of doing a production for the Parade of Homes in the Lakes region. So we're working with Marceau Homes and Home Comfort, which is one of our parade entries for this year. So yesterday we spent the entire day interviewing, filming, doing photography. It was just really interesting to see all these very modern design trends all at once. Textured wallpaper is a thing.
Love that.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize until a few months ago that that was a thing. I was like, this is wood. And she's like, no, it's not. And I was like, seriously? And it like blew my mind thinking like how intricate wallpaper alone is.
Yeah.
It was just it was a fascinating process because they even did like wallpaper on the ceiling, which was pretty cool. So there was just all these fun things that were going on that made it all come together.
Very cool. And you know what? I travel a lot and I spend a lot of time in hotels, and textured wallpaper has been, I really enjoy it. I
It's,
absolutely do. And I just love walking into the hotel room and just like touching the wall. I'm like, oh.
I love it. That's so funny.
Oh, what are some other things that we have coming up in the Parade of Homes that are going to be
So
fun?
we have 5 parade homes. We have 2 developer series. So Owl's Nest and Lookout Winnipesaukee are going to be 2 developers that are going to be on our developer series. 5 builders. So we have Home Comfort / Marceau Homes teaming up, Outside In Construction, and the Dow Group doing a developer series, and then Outside In Construction also has a home entry. It's been fun. It's always a good group. KTM Modulars, they're putting together a modular home in Tilton, New Hampshire. That's almost ready. So we'll be doing her parade video and interview tomorrow. And then next week, we'll be finalizing Devontree Construction's parade video and tour. And then he'll be partnered with Lauren Roman, who's an interior designer. So it'll be really cool to see that as well.
Fantastic. Oh, those are so exciting. Have you seen more modular style homes come on the scene that are kind of a little bit smaller, maybe craftsman-y? I've been looking out for some of that stuff and I haven't really seen it.
So what's cool about Tara's company, she owns KTM Modulars. Before I met Tara, I didn't know how quality modular homes were, because before I met her, I always assumed modulars were like double wides, but I didn't know. She educated me on like, you can literally build anything. You can have your basic ranch and it's a home, it's on a foundation, or you can have like a colonial, a contemporary home put together, a farmhouse. Everything is built in a factory, so you don't have to worry about weather interrupting things. And then it's just an assembly line, kind of like how cars are built. Everything's just assembled. She and her team direct everything. They plug it in like Lego. It's just cool. Her parade entry last year was beautiful, and it really made me think differently about modular homes.
I love it. They are built to a different standard for the most part because they do need to be transported. So they're
Exactly.
so well built. And I love that idea. And some of the homes at Owl's Nest are modular homes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is kind of fun. And I don't know how many folks that spend time up there know that.
I
So,
actually didn't know that, and I just did the parade interview.
oh, great.
That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, they worked with a couple of local architects to design some of their smaller homes up there, and they were built in Maine.
So cool, because
Yeah.
the one I did the interview for was a townhouse. Pretty nifty to see.
Nice. Yeah, they've done a lot of great work up there. It's such a great spot. It's always been a really great spot, but being able to like invite the community in to do more things other than golf or dine has been, I think, a game changer up there. And I'm excited to see what they do with their other golf course down in Ashland.
Same here, because it seems that they want to make it a multi-season experience. They don't want it to just be golf,
Yeah.
which you think like, oh, that's a summer thing. They have all these different sporting activities set up throughout the year right now, or
Yeah.
gearing up for it, which is pretty cool.
And a golf course is probably the best place to go to look at the stars on a nice winter evening to go
So
snowshoeing.
true.
So yeah, so definitely go to Owl's Nest and walk around on snowshoes in the winter. It's just no one's out there. It's so quiet. It's beautiful. We did that for an event for our company and it was just a blast. We had such a
Sounds
blast.
awesome.
And they have some pretty intense sledding hills over there too.
Ooh,
So yeah, I'm just
cool.
waiting. I am just right. I'm just waiting for them because they have access to the river for them to put like a tiki bar out on the island or something and then just have people float all day. That would
That'd
be
be so cool.
you know,
Well, I'll be
take note.
interested to see as they expand if they do anything with the railroad. The railroad always has like those dinner trains. How
Yeah.
cool would it be to take the chef from the Owl's Nest and have him like preparing meals on a train?
Right. Yeah. Or even do like the ski train again to
Hmm.
get people to go up to Loon or to, yeah, really to Loon. And I think that the Hobo
Yep,
has a new owner, right?
they do.
Yep.
Hobo and Winnipesaukee Scenic Railroad. I
Yep.
think it's Patriot Rail Systems.
Yeah. Hopefully that, that's an opportunity for them to create more relationships. So that'll be fun.
Exactly. I'll be very intrigued to see what unfolds.
So many. And I see you have a train behind you.
I do.
Are you a train guy? My husband's a train guy.
A little bit. I actually used to work on the Hobo Winnipesaukee Scenic Railroad, so
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I've known the Clark family for ages.
So we have something in common. I was the first female conductor on the White Mountain Central Railroad.
Oh man, that's phenomenal.
So
Yeah,
that
I
was
was
fun.
a car host, conductor, and fireman for the Winnipesaukee Scenic Railroad when I was a teenager.
Nice. Yep.
Mm.
Say love it. Oh my gosh. Very cool. And then I married a train guy. Who would have
Ah, I
known?
love it.
Oh, so cool. All right. I want to ask you a question about this property that I have. I have this property that I shot, my son shot this summer. It is the owners have moved out. So it is very sparsely staged, like the living room, dining room, and an in law apartment. Everything else is vacant. We didn't do a video and we didn't formally stage the property. It's about 4,000 square feet and it's off grid. So it's a beautiful property and 130 acres. And we're just not really seeing as much reaction as we would like to. And I feel that it has to do with the staging and the fact that we didn't do a lifestyle video.
I think a lifestyle video would be huge. And then for staging, so I have a couple agents basically keep Rent-A-Center on rotation. So I have one client and he also loves interior design. He loves architecture. So he'll call up Rent-A-Center. And the nice thing about Rent-A-Center is like they have the latest styles. You as a realtor no longer have to keep a warehouse of things that are going in and out of style.
Right.
It's just not economically realistic. So he'll call him up, he'll tell him what he needs. Okay, put the TV there, put the couch there, want this sectional to kind of come out to here. And then he'll add his own little flair to it. But since he's very passionate about that interior design aspect, that could be a very personalized touch for you. Just a quick way. I mean, after you do the open houses, the production, you can get everything out, but your viewers don't have to know that you went to Rent-A-Center. And you could like talk about, you could do a lifestyle video and then a branding video for your business and talk about like your why as a realtor and like the little fun things, kind of like what we've been discussing, all the
Yeah.
little ins and outs in this video. For the lifestyle video, you could do a number of things. Your son's an outdoorsman or your husband's an outdoorsman. You could incorporate some elements since it is an off-grid home, like just really nailing down that experience. If there's amenities to showcase, you could simulate like the end of a long day or something.
Well, I will definitely be contacting you because we need to refresh this and relaunch it and get some more interest. But I think that all of those things are, yeah, spot on. Absolutely. And I love Rent-A-Center.
lot of people do, and I'm actually kind of surprised that more realtors don't think of them. Of my clients are like, yeah, I just have like a storage unit of just stuff, and I'm like, that is expensive.
It is expensive. And it's also very out of date very quickly, right?
Exactly. I'd
Yeah.
rather just give it back to Rent-A-Center and be like, you guys deal with this.
Right. Or you can, like, if you were bored, you could probably go through all their listings and go, oh, there's the lamp, the rug. Yep. So and so has listed this house.
The agent I was just telling you about that uses Rent-A-Center a lot for his listings. He has like 10 fake plants and they're part of every single listing. So like one set of plants goes from the primary bedroom to the dining room to like a living area outside. So if you really keep your eyes peeled, you'll be like, that's the same plant.
Awesome. I love it. I just switched out some of my porch plants because we did a terrible job at watering them this year. And I'm like, you know what? I want ferns. I can't buy ferns anywhere right now. So I went and bought fake ones. And I'm like, this looks beautiful. And now, now I can just switch them out every season and I'll look brilliant. Like I'm on top of stuff out there on my porch.
Mother Nature's not drowning them.
That's right. Or my chickens are not eating them.
I mean, give it a minute. They still might.
They still might. Awesome. Oh my gosh, Allan, thank you so much for spending time with me this morning. This has been so much fun, and I definitely am going to be reaching out for that particular property. Any parting words for consumers, agents, business owners?
I think we pretty much covered everything. I mean, this was a lot of fun. I think it was very informative.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
No, all of this is great. How do they reach you? Where do they find you?
Well, you can reach out via phone at 603-568-3829, or you can go to wolfreel.media, WOLFREEL.media.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Allan. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. If you ever want to pick my brain some more, please don't hesitate to call or schedule coffee. I'm always down for coffee. And so
that sounds great. I will definitely do that.
awesome.
All right, cool.